Okay, so today I'm talking about everyday math for grade 3, unit 5.7. This is Miss Dunton. There's a couple of vocabulary words that we need to know for this lesson, which is model decimals with base 10 blocks. And the vocabulary words are tenths and hundredths. So there are two words that kids really need to know when we are talking about modeling decimals with base 10 blocks. So a tenth, what a tenth means in this case is not like being tenth in line, or that way that we might usually use it, the tenth of the month. What it actually means is if you have 10 of something, it's one of those parts. It's 1 out of 10. So if we're talking about base 10 blocks, here we have 10 of them, okay, all in a line, okay, and this is talking about just one of those blocks, one of those cubes that would fit on the long. Okay, that is 1/10. Okay, it's just a part. All right, if it was a pie, you had cut the pie into 10 pieces, or a pizza would be one of those pieces. Now for hundredths, okay, just like with the tenths, it's not the 100th place in line or the 100th of something, the 100th time you did something. What it is if you have like a flat, which is 100 cubes, okay, it would be one part out of those hundreds. Okay, so it would be 100th. Okay, now kids are most used to, using these numbers when it comes to money. So they know like a tenth of a dollar, 10 cents, 10 pennies would be a dime, would be 10 parts. Okay, and also 1/100th of a dollar would be a penny. So we're expecting kids to be able to use these base 10 blocks to model money amounts, to be able to think of this one here, this flat, is going to equal like $1. Okay, this long will equal like 10 cents. So point will equal 10 cents. Okay, we can write it in dollar and cents notation, or we can just write it that way, 10 cents. All right, and this one here, this little one, this cube, is like it's equal to 1 penny, okay, or 0.01 cents, or just 1 cent. But this notation here, it's called dollar and cents notation, will really help kids be able to understand how to do decimals later on down the road, and it will also help them to understand tenths and hundredths of something. We also want them to be able to read and write these decimal numbers through the 100ths. So we want them to be able to say that this is 100th, this is 200ths, this is 300ths. Okay, we want them to be able to say that, and it could have a 0 in front of it, that this is 1/10, that this is 2/10, okay, that this is 3/10. We want them to be able to read those numbers, not just to write them and recognize them, but to read them. We also want them to be able to use these base 10 blocks to represent decimal and fraction equivalencies, so what they're equal to. So we want them to know that not only is this read as a tenth, but that it would be written as 1 out of 10. Okay, that this is not only 2/10, but it would be written as 2 out of 10. So we want kids to be able to change those, and we also want them to be able to compare in order. So if they were given these three numbers in mixed up order, they would be able to put them in the order they belong, like from smallest to next smallest to largest. So they would be able to put it in order that way. Okay, and just to note, up until this point, kids have been used to looking at this not as one, but as 100. They've been used to looking at this as 100 pieces. Okay, so there's going to be a shift in thinking for the kids, because now we're asking them to look at this flat unit as just one. as just one piece, okay? And these are parts of that piece. So now, this has become the new unit. This has become a new unit, and this is just a teeny part of that unit. So this flat doesn't equal 100 anymore to them. It used to equal 100, because there would be, then these would equal 1, and so there would be 100 of these in there, so this would equal 100. But not anymore. Now this just equals 1. And this is a teeny tiny part of that 1. It's like this is $1 and this is a penny. Okay, and then this is also a part of that 1, which is like a dime. But we're asking here for the kids to make a shift in their thinking. From this going from this flat being equal to 100 to now the flat is only equal to 1. Okay, with these being the different parts in the flat. There are a lot of ways you can help with this at home. Have kids count money. Give kids a little bit of change. Have them write down what it looks like in the dollar and cents notation. Tell them what it equals as part of a whole number. Have them convert it into a fraction. Okay, what it's going to look like. Out of 10, you know, however many that you're starting with. You can just give them, and it doesn't have to be money. It could be any number of objects. You could use dice. You could use spoons, whatever you want to use, just to do this sort of activity. If you're sitting down, you're looking at the homework, you're really not sure what to do, please make sure you take a look at some of the how-to videos on this. There are a number of videos that I've already created to kind of help people understand how to actually do this. It can be tricky, it can be confusing. Just remember that this decimal point, every number comes with a decimal point after it. It's sort of an invisible decimal point. If we just write the number 1, we don't need to write a decimal point after it unless we're going to have maybe 1 and 100th. Then we really need it. But if you just remember that to the left of the decimal point, these are whole numbers. Okay, and then to the right of the decimal point, these are going to be just parts. Only parts of 1. It's not even going to be 1. Everything that you write over here, you can write it out as far as you want, but this number over here is less than 1. It's just going to be a part of 1. Okay, so those are things that we're trying to get kiddos to understand in this lesson. And if you have any questions, please make sure, as always, to ask. So this is the parent help session for Everyday Math, Unit 5.7 of Grade 3, and this is Miss Dunton. Thank you.